Hi, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Project Pro AI Monetization Podcast, where we speak with AI leaders and business leaders on what business impact they are seeing with AI. Today, we have with us Vijay Morampudi. So, Vijay is a head of the AI Center of Excellence at the Marsh McLennan GCC. Marsh is obviously the 23 billion plus large consulting company focused on risk, strategy, and people consulting. Vijay has extensive experience at the intersection of enterprise AI strategy, product innovation, and developer experience, for which he has been recognized with multiple awards in this space. He's also a respected thought leader for his practical insights on how his AI is transforming and impacting enterprises. Before Marsh, Vijay used to work at a startup where he played a key role in monetizing the XOps framework. And he has a lot of experience with AI use cases in healthcare, agriculture, pharma, and customer experience. Vijay, thank you for taking time to do this. Welcome to this podcast.
Thank you, Binny. It's a pleasure to be on this podcast. Looking forward for the conversation.
All right, thank you. So Vijay, in your role leading the Center of Excellence of AI, right? You probably see lots of industry use cases that you're helping solve. What are the most common AI use cases, the lowest hanging fruit, which people go to immediately, that you're seeing across industries and companies?
Thank you for that question, Binny.
Yeah.
Yes, especially the recent advancement of the technologies, we are able to solve some of the use cases in comparison to earlier. I can tell you that in enterprise scenario, knowledge search is one of the popular use case that many enterprises are exploring. In fact, even I got an opportunity to build some solutions around this for the last 3 years.
Mm,
Other areas that the companies are focusing on is in terms of the client user experience,
mm,
customer experience. So we enterprises are building solutions in terms of again providing the quality the experience to the customers, and they're integrating AI into the business workflows.
mm,
Also, and just providing them more of a personalized experiences to the end users. Uh,
mm,
that's the other area that which is picking up very rapidly. And the third area which I am seeing more popular recently is that how can we leverage these technologies to accelerate the time to development of the products and innovation.
mm,
Right?
mm.
Some of the areas that we can see major traction
Yeah.
in the recent times.
Okay, okay. So that's very helpful, Vijay. And just taking these areas one by one, if we take with this first one, which is you said knowledge search, I assume that's something like the traditional knowledge management kind of problem, right? I think in the old days in the old days, as in 2 years back, people used to use things like SharePoint and things like that for knowledge management. Is this also similar to what that company Glean is trying to do? This is startup Glean. Is similar to that? Yeah.
So that's correct, Binny, right? It's a
Mm,
traditional problem that every enterprise has it. So as
yeah.
you know that many of these enterprises they have a lot of information.
Mm,
So now when they are providing services, products or solutions to the customers, obviously there is a study which talks about employees are spending 20 to 30% of the time in searching for the information.
mm,
Now, with the advancement of these tools, specifically, you can build the solutions around it so that you can quickly find the relevant
mm,
information for what you are planning to do. Uh,
mm,
Now, the ability to combine different types of data, right? Being
mm,
structured data, unstructured data from different sources,
mhm,
and to provide the relevant access
mm,
to the employees, they can able to quickly get the first level of information within minutes
mm.
and further enhance the content so that they can use it for their specific scenarios.
Got it. No, no, not. And usually, Vijay, see, if you take a solution like this, no, a problem like this, If a company wants to solve a knowledge search problem, how do they decide between custom developing a solution versus buying like a SaaS solution? There are lots of options for this online. Based on what parameters do companies decide they want to build something internally or with a partner versus buying something like a SaaS solution?
Yeah, good question, Binny. Right.
Mm,
It depends on various parameters, right? So,
mm,
especially if you look at the enterprises, they have terabytes of data,
mm,
right? And if you are working in a specific industry, so your industry domain knowledge is very, very important, right? So,
mm, mm,
trying to build a solution around that, especially the knowledge set. I can tell you about my experience of building this kind of knowledge set for a pharma industry. For
mm,
industry is very, very domain specific. For you to understand the drug names and all of that information is the traditional models may not able to do it very well.
mm,
Right?
mhm,
You need to build the solutions in terms of how can you understand the user intent, you can you understand the entity specific to your domain, uh,
mhm,
and then you need to spend a good amount of time in terms of curating the data. Many times
mhm,
we believe that we have the quality data and we can able to provide the responses to the user. Unfortunately, in our enterprise scenario, so we may have the data residing in different places, duplicate data. Sometimes the quality of the data might not be good enough for providing the responses. So
mm,
custom solutions, I mean the out-of-box solutions only works
mm,
for 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 a given scenario. In
mm,
a constrained environment, it works very well. But
mm,
in enterprise scenario, you may connect with different enterprise systems, curating the data from different sources. It has to understand your enterprise-specific domain terminology, ontology,
mhm,
and you need to sometimes build a custom embedding models or the um,
mm.
models.
Yeah.
So these are the areas where the out-of-box solution may not directly fit into it. You may use
Mm.
the bits and pieces of out-of-box components
Right.
of your
Right.
workflow, but you need to design this your workflow in your
Yeah.
uh,
Right.
one experience that I had is that technology is not a bottleneck in enabling these use cases. It's mainly
Mm,
change management that you bring in an enterprise. Uh,
mm,
where you need to spend a significant amount of time. So
mm,
there might be in pockets of these workflows, you can integrate out-of-box solutions.
mm,
You do a lot of customization to complete this workflow.
mhm. Got it. And since you spoke about change management, right? Could you maybe help us understand just a little bit more on what is involved in change management when you're rolling out a knowledge search project in an enterprise? Who are the various stakeholders and what are the steps usually involved in a change management process for something like this? And what could go wrong usually in a change management process? Why wouldn't it succeed?
Sure. See, when we are trying to roll out any solution, the first thing that we need to keep in mind is that who are our targeted users.
Mm,
Right? So you might have different targeted personas,
mm,
and you may have the people who are expertise and they are using your solution, and
mm,
people who are novice users, they're also using the solution.
right.
Typically what happens is that novice users, they trust these systems more.
Mm,
And expert users, they are more skeptical of using the systems because then they can spot the errors, hallucinations
mm,
much quickly.
mm,
So you need to create a different kind of experiences depending on your target personas.
mm,
What we did is that we created the mapping of the current work process,
mm,
and then we looked at the bottlenecks, and also we
mm,
looked at the different personas that they are using it, and
mm,
try to create the empathy maps to see that
mm,
what the future state looks like.
mm, mm,
And then we need to educate the users. More importantly,
mm,
users like what are the limitations of the system that you are building on.
mm,
Now, since the system is generating the first version of the information that they are looking for, right?
mm,
How they can review the information, what the system is,
mm,
and how
mm,
can suppose if you are working in a regulated industry, how
mm,
to ensure that the content that you are generating is
mm,
compliant as per the regulation. So we
mhm,
need to educate the users in terms of how can they consume the information that was generated as the first step,
mm,
right? So we need to design a right workflow uh,
mm,
in such a way that the system should be able to tell that, hey, I generated this information based on this source,
mm.
providing references to the sources,
Yeah.
they can do the spot check on, and also system should be able to tell the confidence that what are the areas that it is so confident that it's able to generate it, and wherever
Mm,
it's low confidence area, that's where you need to review it. And
yeah.
once content is generated, then the reviewers can be different, right? So
Mm,
especially when you are trying to review the output, you need to
mm,
see that you are reviewing for the quality, then you need to have a subject matter expert
mm,
who is reviewing the output. And if
mm,
you, like the way I mentioned that if you are reviewing for the compliance, then you need to have
mm,
the legal expert who is
mm,
reviewing. So we
mhm,
need to design the workflow in such a way that once the content is generated, it will be human in the loop will be kept, or expert in the loop will be kept in the system in such a way that
yeah.
they approve it and moves from one stage to the other before the
Mm.
version is created and delivered to the targeted personas.
That's very helpful. And the other topic you mentioned was the whole AI's impact on developer experience, and that is something kind of close to what we do at Project Pro as well. So I would love to understand, Vijay, which is we hear a lot about vibe coding, but most of the use cases that we see everywhere on vibe coding has to do with mostly front end, back end kind of app development. Uh, For data scientists, for data engineers, is there an equivalent of white code? Is there a Cursor, Lovable, Codium, Bold? Are there similar tools in this space? Why not? How much of such AI generated code is being used by data scientists and data engineers today?
Good question, Binny. This space is evolving so fast
Mm,
in comparison to the earlier. Definitely, this is one of the most popular use case nowadays. We are
mm,
also leveraging these code generation tools to a majority extent for our solution.
mm,
Coming to the areas where it is more helpful, it depends, right? There are, as you mentioned, there are certain areas like front-end development,
mm,
which is able to help you to create with most of the code base for you. But
mm,
some of the complex areas, right? That's where it may able to do some basic thing. So
mm,
you one of the important things that we need to look into is that understand the power of the technology at the same time
mm,
and the limitations of the technology,
mm,
right? So you need to define the scenarios where this works best.
mm,
uh, from my experience of you leveraging these tools for the last couple of years, so
mm,
we understood that these tools can generate more of the boilerplate code
mm,
that you need to, instead of you developing something from scratch, you can leverage them for repetitive activities. And second thing is that if you are able to guide the system with the right level of information, say for example, providing with the requirement in detail, and
mm,
providing the reference libraries that you want to use, and
mm,
also provide the right kind of examples, dependencies. If you are
mm,
able to guide the system, it can able to generate the code for you in a much
mm,
faster way. I
mm,
guess it's not like a completely autopilot. So
mm,
you need to drive it in such a way that you get the right output. But more
mm,
importantly, what we recommend to the developers is that all the code that was generated by the system, we need to review it. We
mm,
need to look at the quality. That's the first.
mm,
Then the second aspect is that in terms of the majority of the times, the code generated by these tools have security vulnerabilities. So we
mm,
also need to review the code to detect those security vulnerabilities, and especially when you are building the products. So IP is the important aspect, right? So
mm,
many times these code generation tools, they are generating a code which have references to the open source code bases. So you
mm,
need to ensure, you need to leverage the tools to look at the IP conflicts.
mm,
And one These are the important things that if you are able to take care of it, you may see a good acceleration in terms of your development timeline. So
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about development, uh,
Mm-hmm.
developer focus is not only in terms of writing the code, right? So writing the code is only maybe 20-30% of his whole activity. Um, designing the system, designing the architecture, uh,
Mm-hmm.
writing the documentation, uh,
Mm-hmm.
writing the test scenarios,
Mm-hmm.
the application, and building it, deploying it. So
Mm-hmm.
various scenarios where these tools are going to be helpful. So
Mm-hmm.
you can, if you are able to completely integrate these tools as part of your development workflow, you can see a significant uh, improvement in terms of the overall productivity. One important thing that I can say is that one aspect is of the code generation
Mm-hmm.
and documentation, and one more scenario which we tried last year is that migrating the legacy code bases. So especially in enterprise setting, you may
Mm-hmm.
have large volumes of data from the legacy systems. Last year, we worked on a specific scenario where we migrated the COBOL code bases from a Java. So look at the out-of-box models, they may not work very well for this specific scenario. The reason
Mm-hmm.
being that they don't have much of these code base of COBOL and Java as part of their model generation.
Yeah.
So we partnered with a company where they fine-tune a specific version of the model and
Mm-hmm.
that model to complete the migration parts. When you are doing the migration, the important point is that uh, instead of translating from language to language, first of all, look
Mm-hmm.
at legacy language, understand the legacy language, use these tools to understand the functionality from the legacy code, and
Mm-hmm.
verify that. Then you, from that specification, you convert into the new language. If you
Mm-hmm.
follow this path, then you can able to see a better success rather than directly translating from one language to the other.
Yeah. Makes sense. And the tools that are commonly used by data scientists and data engineers today, is it usually GitHub Copilot, ChatGPT, and Anthropic Claude? Is that what they mostly use for code generation?
Yes, Benny, yeah, we are using all these tools.
All these tools.
It depends upon the your scenario. See, right, in
Mm,
an enterprise setting, you may not directly use the tools that you prefer to go with, right? So there is a process where we um, certify the tools and bring into
mm,
the environment.
mhm.
What we more important to do is that we will not directly leverage these tools in our environments. We have the sandbox environments that we created,
I
uh,
see.
where you try out these tools
Mhm,
at the first version of what you are looking at it.
mhm,
Certify that what you generated is correct. Then the next step is that you are bringing that code base into the your regular environment where we can continue your development further.
mhm. Interesting. And you've been a data scientist, AI engineer for a long time right now. So, given this new world all data scientists are going into, right? What would you say are the top problems or challenges faced by data scientists and data engineers that you wish there was a solution to solve it for them? It could be either tool related or career related, anything. Like, what do you think are the biggest problems and challenges that they face today that needs to be solved?
Um, One thing definitely I can say is that in terms of the data availability and data quality, right?
Mm,
We all
mm,
know that AI works based on the,
mm,
especially when you are solving the problems within the enterprise scenario, the
mm,
quality of the data defines the quality of the output. So we need to really look at what data is required to solve your business problem. So
mm,
most of the time interacting with the data teams to figure out the right data, transform the data and bring it into a format that it is useful for us. And
mm,
of late, because of this success of generative AI, we are able to leverage large volumes of unstructured data. So in
mm,
typically 80% of the data is more of unstructured. Earlier
mm,
we focus more on the structured data. Now we have the flexibility to use the unstructured data. So you
mhm,
need to build the pipelines to process this unstructured data, creating the embeddings and storing them, and enabling those embeddings to be leveraged by the downstream use cases.
mm,
Building those pipelines and improving the quality of the data is a significant effort that
mm.
we are finding it challenging.
Yeah.
Once you do that, the next important thing is that how do you validate the output generated by the solutions is more accurate,
Hmm.
right? So mm, now one of the things that we are trying to do is that we are evaluating the solutions in an offline mode. What I mean to,
Mm,
what I mean by that is that we create a kind of a golden data set with a set of questions from the users and different variations of the questions, and to see that whether the question that you have are covering the entire knowledge base that you have, right? So what we are doing is that we are converting these questionnaires and the knowledge base into the vector embedding space, and you see
yeah.
that the questions are covered the entire
Mm,
knowledge. That's one
yeah.
aspect. You may
Hmm.
start with a small number of questions. You may start with the 20, 50 question, but over a period of time, you can increase that number to cover the entire code base. And
Hmm.
you can do the evaluation using the tool. So there are many providers who are providing the relevant metrics for you to measure the quality of the output. Along
Mm,
with that, you can also do manual evaluation. That's another area that is more important. And many times what we do is that we are trying to optimize the model based on our goal and data set. But what is more important is that you need to roll out the solution to the user and getting the real time feedback, right?
mm.
These features in such a way that for every output that you are providing to the user, how can you capture the feedback? And
Right.
that feedback, you can use it to improve the quality of the output. And
Right.
one more important thing that we did it as part of majority of the projects is that um, build the capability to improve the quality of the knowledge base.
Mm,
Right? So when you are providing the responses to the user, so now there are scenarios where the user may felt that the response is incorrect or invalid.
mm,
Now,
mm,
now it gives us an opportunity to capture the relevant correct response from the user, and
mhm,
to consolidate all of this information, and you need to uh, keep send it to the experts who can review the feedback given by the users, and the approved feedback will be part of your knowledge base. So over
mm,
a period of time, you can able to improve the quality of your knowledge base. Especially this is important in the healthcare settings. We work
mhm,
on one of the use case where we provided responses to the patients who are undergoing a surgery.
mm,
So you can understand the quality of the responses is equally important. When we
mm,
started the project, we have some level of information for responding to the patient queries for certain surgery types. So over a period of time, by building this kind of feedback loop, the expert doctors can able to review the responses and they can update the knowledge bases. So
mm,
our first time response quality that we are providing to the users have increased from 60% to 95% over a period of time by
mm.
care of evaluation and building the feedback to improve the data quality.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So, especially what you said about the feedback loop, right? So, today, Vijay, so when you roll out these solutions, you're talking about getting real-time feedback, right? How is that feedback got today? Is it below the response? There is a thumbs up, thumbs down kind of symbol, or is there lot more sophistication to that? What kind of tooling do you build out to get that today?
So now you can do it in multiple ways, right? Definitely,
Mm,
thumbs up and thumbs down is a binary way of knowing whether the
mm,
output by system is of good
mm,
quality. But what we are also focusing on is capturing the actual feedback from the user. So
mm,
we have enabled the voice to users can convey the information in the voice and which is
mm,
captured by the system and
mm,
automatically recorded and sent it to the expert review.
mm,
Expert has reviewed, then that will be automatically updated in the knowledge base. So you need to be ensuring that you are reconciling this information with the original source of information that you have, and
mm,
what you are capturing in our knowledge base is the vectors. Uh,
mm,
so you need to update the original source, and then you need to update your vector store.
mhm,
Next time when a similar question was coming in. So you, instead of you picking from the old response, old vector,
Mm,
finding
mm,
from the new updated response. So you
got it.
need to build this complete loop
Mm,
with experts reviewing the responses.
mm,
Sometimes experts may accept or deny the feedback given by the user.
yeah.
We are capturing the metrics, and we are also providing incentives to the users for providing the right response. So we
Mm-hmm,
have a leaderboard which talks about who are the users who are providing more feedback,
mm,
whether their feedback was improved. So
mm.
it's like encouraging the users to provide the right feedback so that the system will improve over a period of time.
Very interesting. And you think that voice-based feedback thing that you do, that's a critical part of the system design.
That's correct. So you need to think
Okay.
of the scenarios. This is more applicable, right? So when in an enterprise scenario, when for a limited number of use cases, this voice feedback is helpful.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
rolling out the solution to the external user where the users are using the system while they are on the move, then
Mm,
answering the voice without noise is a little challenging.
yeah.
So look at the use case to use case to see that how can you define the right feedback.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can also provide to the user the options why
Mm,
is relevant, right?
hmm.
Can automatically pick up one of the options
Hmm.
why it is relevant, and
Hmm.
depending on the norm, depend. Say for example, when we develop the solution for the healthcare system, we
Mm,
can't ask the patient to provide the feedback. What is the correct response for this query? They might not have
mm,
the response, right? But the
mm,
doctor who is reviewing the output before sending it
mm,
to the patient, they can provide the feedback. So
mm,
you need to select the right users to provide the feedback, and
mm,
users can provide the feedback on their satisfaction level, but not on the
mm,
quality. So it depends
mm,
on the industry use case
mm,
and the expect
mm,
level of users to
mm,
get the real feedback of whether it is helpful to them or not.
mm. Very. Okay, so you're basically saying the biggest challenges with data scientists today is the quality of the data, making sure the feedback loop is there, so the source and the vector stores are updated. Those are the biggest challenges today. Understood. And then just moving to the third area that you spoke about, Vijay, customer experience, right? Could you talk a little more about some very interesting, unique use cases you have seen on how AI is being applied to enhance customer experience?
Sure, I can talk about it. So there are some use cases where we, so for example, let's take this use case that we build for uh, farmers.
Mm,
So we did it for a mm, company
mm-hmm,
who provides the different varieties of the crops and also have the different crop products.
mm-hmm,
So we developed this solution so that either the farmers or the professionals, agricultural professionals, if they
mm,
have any specific queries, they can ask the queries and
mm,
the responses in the real time.
mm-hmm,
What we did is that we have taken the historical data about
mm-hmm,
crops and what kind of pests and what are the different products that this particular company is providing, and
mm,
we leverage these pesticides to reduce the pests. So like
mm-hmm,
all of these knowledge bases were taken over a period of time, and
mm-hmm,
we provided the solution to the user. We are
mm-hmm,
not directly providing the response directly to the user. We have the frontline people in the loop who will
mm,
take the questionnaire from the actual users, and
mm-hmm,
we will use the solution what we have developed to get the responses, and the response
mm-hmm,
required and sent it to the users directly.
mm-hmm,
First scenario, we started with the large out-of-box models.
mm-hmm.
We initially were able to generate certain level of response quality. I think we have a response quality of around 70% or so in the beginning.
Okay. Okay.
over a period of time, what we did again, like the way I mentioned, this is a special sector where you need to understand more of the domain specific entities, domain specific level information.
Hmm.
We shifted from these large models and we went ahead with the small language models.
Mm,
Since we have the large volume of data,
mm,
we curated that data and we fine tuned these models,
mm.
this data. And with this technique, we are able to significantly improve the quality of the responses from 70 to 90 plus. Over
Wow.
a period of time. More importantly, the frontline workers, they are able to save a significant amount of the time,
Hmm.
and the farmers and the agricultural experts, they're
Hmm.
more happy with the quality of the responses that we are providing.
Very nice. Very interesting. Okay. And you spoke about using SLMs, small language models. Is the primary benefit there the cost? Is that the primary benefit, or are there other benefits of using SLM as well?
There are multiple benefits, Benny.
Mm,
I'm
mm,
based on my experience of working in different industries and different use cases. Definitely, cost is the factor, and if you are working on a real-time use cases, latency also equally plays a role.
mhm,
And recently, when we are building the workflows with agentic AI,
mm,
a specific task in a workflow,
mm,
you can use these fine-tuned small language models. So you don't want
mm,
a model to know everything about it because you know the task what you are doing, right?
mm,
And
mhm,
so in those cases, the small language models fine-tune on our data, they are going to be more helpful, which will reduce the overall latency of the system,
mhm,
cost factor, and the quality of the responses will be little higher because it can understand our domain better.
mhm, mhm.
These are some of the factors that help you to you go with small language models. And one more scenario that I that we encountered is that sometimes as an enterprise you don't want to use your data with a model, large language
Yeah,
model, even if it
yeah.
is right within a
Mhm,
vendor.
mhm, mhm,
You want to have a full control of the model, and
mhm,
you want a specific version of the model which is fine-tuned on your data. Uh,
mhm,
So, in those scenarios, you may see an advantage of going with these small language model. Again, it
mhm,
depends upon case to case, right? For a general domain, I don't think that it's more advantageous to go with a small language model. The
mhm,
publicly available models are already good enough.
mhm,
Second scenario is that um, initially when you are starting a new product or new MVP,
mhm.
you may not directly jump into the fine tuning the small language model and building a solution.
Right. Mhm.
First, at the product feature fit,
Yeah.
and once you see the value in doing that, then you see moving from these large models to a small language what will be beneficial and look at
Mhm,
what benefits you are anticipating. If
mhm,
it is only the cost, wait till the time that you have more number of users
mhm,
where you see the benefit of moving from large model to a small language model, you will get a better ROI. Uh,
mhm.
so if we have less number of users, because the upfront cost of fine-tuning these models and hosting them is little higher. So
Yeah.
the value kicks off once you have certain number of users.
Yeah.
Uh, and if it is more of the quality of the responses, it's always a good option to go and try these small language models on your data. But more
Mhm,
importantly, you need to have the right quality of the data set to fine tune your
mhm,
model, right? So if
mhm,
you are able to get the time, if you are able to involve your experts to
mhm,
curate this data set, which you can
mhm,
fine tune it, and
mhm,
also you need to create a data set for validating the responses after fine tuning the solution.
mhm, mhm,
So if you have these things in place, then
mhm.
it's always good to
Good point.
that approach.
Understood. Okay. And then just finally, Vijay, there's lots of developers watching this podcast. Now, as we kind of go into this AI first future, right? From a career and skilling perspective, one of the things that's pretty popular with developers today around the world is many developers for professional education, they do certifications from, AWS, Databricks, all of that. Then many other people, they do, postgraduate degrees from various universities, IIMs, IITs, University of Texas, all of these degrees. Then some other people, they do these executive education certifications and things like that. So how relevant are all this going to be going forward? Do you think there's going to be a lot more need for things like that? Or do you think new things are needed in this new world?
Okay, good question, right?
Mm,
Depending upon what you are doing, right?
mm,
You need to have the relevant level of skills, right?
mm,
As a leader, if you are leading the AI group,
mm,
probably your areas of interest are little different, like um, change management, uh,
mm,
validating the output qualities,
mhm,
these are some, and having more ROI for the
mm,
solution. And
mm,
these are some of the
mm,
skills that you will be more looking at it.
mm,
And if you are working on areas where you are applying technology to solve a business problem, that I typically call it as applied AI.
mm,
And those are very traditional problems that you are trying to solve.
mm,
Then you need to have certain level of skills, right? So how
mm,
can you apply the technology? So that means you need to know that what technique is required in what scenario.
mm,
So their certification will help you to know the basics. But
mm,
what more important is that you need to practice solving the problems. The what is
mm,
required nowadays, um, knowing the technology, knowing the concept is a little easy.
mm,
Knowing when to use that concept
mm,
and getting the best results out of it requires a constant constantly trying out those things, looking at the
mm,
failure scenarios and building the expertise. How can you overcome the failure scenarios? uh,
mhm,
that is more important, especially when we are talking about the agentic AI. There
mhm,
are three courses which will help you to build the agents,
mhm,
but there are very few courses which talks about how do you take care of the provide granting the right relevant access to the agents, right?
mhm,
How do you log the actions taken by the agents? So, right,
mhm,
and how do you uh, how do you improve the quality of the response? Because one agent trying to solve a specific task in a workflow, if it is propagating the error to the next agent,
right.
the quality of the output will be low. So
Yeah.
these things you may not learn directly from the courses, right? Until unless you try to solve a specific business problem, you cannot
Mm,
gain. So my
mm,
recommendation to the people who are solving those problems is look at more problems,
mm,
think about what are the possible ways that it can go wrong,
yeah.
and build the safety loops for those failure scenarios. Then there is a high probability of success, right?
Mm,
So like
great.
that, depending
Mhm,
upon what stage of the career that you are in and what
mm,
type of role that you are playing in an organization, you need to pick the relevant skills to be more successful.
yeah. Fantastic. Thank you, Vijay. This has been extremely helpful. Thank you for sharing your perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Benny.